You are tuned in to Kids
in the Pit.
Hey guys, it's Gabe from the Kids in the Pit podcast. Today I'm joined by Beau Beau from Avail. Let's do this.
Let's do this.
Hey Beau, I'm Gabe. Mind if I ask you some questions today?
Sure.
So, what do you do in the band Avail?
My official title, or what do I actually do?
And yeah, what do you do in Avail?
So, well, my official title is cheerleader. And back when we first started, I did a lot more stuff. Like I was the tour manager, and I took care of all the stuff that happens when bands go on the road. I also jump around a lot and spit and bleed. I've been known to get naked, just a general buffoon.
Sounds like a buffoon.
Yeah.
So, what made you guys decide to have a cheerleader? That's not very common.
No. So the way that it worked is that me and Tim have known each other, me and the singer, Tim Barry, have known each other since kindergarten. Like we've known each other our entire lives.
Oh,
Back in the day, before he started singing, he played the drums. And I would kind of sit off to the side of the drums and make sure if anything happened, like a mic stand fell over or, like something happened, something came unplugged, I would like run or scurry and fix it. And then I would just do like little silly hand signs and do my own little stupid dances while we were playing. And then when Tim started singing, I just started moving up. So I became more in the forefront. And then it just kind of got worse. Like now I sing and I have parts that are mine. And it wasn't a conscious effort to do anything. Like there was nobody that we looked at and said, oh, that's cool, we should do that. It was just kind of happened.
oh. So, I saw Tim Barry's like solo project on tour with Hot Water Music.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so does that mean he plays guitar, sings, and plays the drums?
He's actually super, super talented. He can play the drums really well. He actually played the drums on Eric Larson's last solo record, I think. Eric Larson is our drummer. He's played bass in the Young Pioneers. He played guitar. He plays the drums. I don't know if he plays any other instruments, but his whole family is like that. Like his sister Caitlin will play with him, and she plays the violin. And then her brother like writes like classical music stuff. Like he's really, really, really good.
If he
They're
had
all
like
really talented.
if he had like six arms, he could be make a band with himself in it.
Yeah, and then I wouldn't have to do anything, and I would still get paid for it. Perfect.
So how long has Avail been a band?
So it was Avail was a band before we moved to Richmond. And we moved to Richmond in like 89, 90. But none of those people except for Joe Banks kind of went with us. Tim was kind of in the band at that point. I was in the band at that point. So we don't really say that we did anything until like 1990, because that's when we started like putting out 7 inches and going not tour, but like playing other places, like playing Florida and playing Louisville, Kentucky, and just like places like that, like the Southeast kind of like that's where we cut our teeth. So that was like the early 90s.
That's cool. I'll see you guys at Furnace Fest and the Fest in Gainesville this fall. So
Yeah.
for those not familiar with Avail, what song should they check out?
So I guess I don't have any idea. Usually people pick up Sidewalk first because it was on like a Tony Hawk Pro Skater like 2 or some shit like that,
Oh,
like a long time ago. Um,
okay.
and then Scuffletown and Southbound 95 are pretty much the ones that we play and people kind of lose their shit about.
Oh. So what is your favorite place you've toured in and why?
Oof. So there's lots of different places. Um, so obviously I love touring in the Southeast because that's kind of like where we're from and you where we cut our teeth. The Northeast is a lot of fun because we have a lot of friends there. We started touring with these lists back in the day where you would get a phone list, and we got it from the band Born Against, and we got it from the band Rorschach. So we became friends with a lot of those guys. Then again, I like places like Louisville and Indiana and Dayton and places like that that have always been super neat and a lot of bands didn't go to back in the day. Um, but I guess right now, one of my favorite places to tour, and we haven't toured there in probably 15 years, would be in Europe. I really like European football. So when we're not playing shows, I'll go to the stadiums and check the stadiums out and stuff. And I have family that lives in England. So I get to see family too.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So by European football, do you mean what we call soccer?
Correct. Yes, that's both of my kids are named after players. Like I'm psychotic about it. Like yeah, it's what I enjoy.
Well, technically, you live in Costa Rica, so not what we call it, what I call it.
Also, if without sounding like a jerk, the entire world calls it football except for the United States
Oh, yeah. So,
because the United States has American football.
yeah. So, how old are your kids?
So my son is 14 and my daughter is 11, and they were both at the show. Uh, I don't know if you saw like off to like my side of the stage, there was a bunch of kids. That's all like the band's kids and like nieces and nephews. It was pretty neat actually to have like, you know, little younger people like you at shows now.
Yeah,
It's a lot, it's cooler
I
now.
saw them.
Yeah,
So,
they're cool.
what was your first concert and how old were you?
My first concert was 1985. Um, I was 14 years old and I went to see a band called COC.
Oh, that's the year my
Um,
dad was born.
yeah, well, I was 14 years old and going to shows.
Oh,
I'm old. They were the scariest band that I had ever seen. Like at that point, I had only seen like punk rock bands on their records and like on flyers and stuff like that. And it was the scariest thing I had ever been to. I went to in Washington D.C. and it was really really violent back in the 80s. And I went with my girlfriend at the time and her older brother. And her older, we were getting ready to go in, and my girlfriend, I didn't drink at the time, and my girlfriend was drinking even though she was underage, and they caught her and they kicked her out. So my girlfriend sat in the car. Then I went with her older brother. He like boosted me up on stage so I could do a stage dive, and my head hit the kick drum and ripped it a little bit, and I was terrified. And I looked up, and it was Mike Dean, the bass player, and he had like crazy gnarly dreads, and he was probably only a couple years older than I am, but he just looked so scary. And I remember looking at him, and he just kind of looked down at me and kind of went, "Meh." And so then I jumped off stage, and that was my first stage dive. And I was like, I don't want to do that anymore. That's scary. And then look at me now,
don't boink your head on the kick drum.
especially during COC.
Yeah. Hatebreed is probably the scariest show I've seen, but luckily I've been on stage because it was This Is Hardcore Fest, and my mom signed the
Thing.
passes things, so we were able to stand on stage.
Yeah, I've seen some scary bands since, and they're much scarier and uh, much more violent shows than that show was itself. And you know, I'm not supposed to say it, but I really enjoyed looking at watching those shows. I don't ever want to play those shows, but having seen playing with bands or seeing crazy shows like that is a lot of fun to me. Like if it's not something that people just kind of come out and play their music and they're not, it's nothing fun, right? If it's got to be fun to watch. And like if whatever the crowd's doing, that's kind of part of punk rock, right? Like it's not just the bands, it's everybody that's there.
Yeah.
So
I want to stage dive at Furnace Fest.
yeah, I probably will. My wife said I couldn't jump off of the stage this time because it was too far away.
I haven't stage dive yet. I've only crowd surfed like 4 times, maybe 5 times, around that. Um, so what is a band you suggest other people go see live?
Live bands right now, man. Honestly, I don't know as many bands as I used to, and like a lot of the bands that I know that were everybody knows. Like I would say, go see American Nightmare, but everybody go see American Nightmare. I mean, Hot Water puts on a great show. The Bouncing Souls put on a great show. Let's see. I mean, I did really like Terminal Bliss. That was that first band that played at the Over the James Fest, and they were really, really cool. Um, I started getting into this band, Get In. I think Get In, Get Out, Get In. Yeah, Get In. They seem pretty neat, but I don't know. Just go to any shows, really.
Hot Water Music is my favorite band. I saw them 6 times this year, and also
Nice.
6 times at all. I
Nice.
don't know why I held up a five.
Because you're really good at counting, because this it's only the third time you said it.
Yeah, I'm very good at counting, saying I held up a five when six. No, it's
You don't have
six.
to be, that's another.
One, two, three, four, five, six.
Yeah, totally. And then, that's all you need.
Yeah. So where did you grow up and where do you live now?
So I grew up in a really small town in Northern Virginia. Actually, all of Avail grew up in the same town, a place called Reston. And we all hated it. And so when we were old enough to leave, we all left. And then we moved to Richmond, Virginia, where I spent 30 years there, touring and having like running businesses and just kind of, just being a regular everyday guy. And then about a year ago, uh, we said screw it and left and just moved to Costa Rica. My mom and dad live here, and then my grandfather is from here. So it was time for us to have a change. And every now and then you need a crazy change. And that was a crazy change.
That's cool. How long have you lived in Costa Rica?
About a year,
Oh,
about a year. So yeah, so like, and it's really cool because the principal of my kid's school, she put out this record label like back in the 90s called Smorgasbord Records, and it was all these crazy straight edge bands. And
oh,
so like in my kid's school, and I go skate with the vice principal, there's a skateboard ramp, there's a bowl, and you can go skate at school, and that's a class.
what?
Costa Rica, yeah, Costa Rica is awesome.
I'm moving to Costa Rica.
one of his
We're moving to Costa Rica now, and
one
I'm
of my
doing school.
one of my son's class, the last class of the day is skateboarding.
Oh, that's really cool. So
Yeah.
what do you do for a living?
I own a bar, I own a restaurant.
Oh,
So when we were young, like that was the only real jobs that you could get and still tour, right? Like you could still be a dishwasher and leave for 6 months and then come back. And if they were cool, you could get your job back. If not, you just got another job at another restaurant. And so that's all I've ever done. I worked at the tattoo industry in the tattoo industry for a long time, but so yeah, I know how to do it. That's the only thing I really know how to do besides jump around and scream in microphones.
oh, and
Yeah,
also uh use a microphone stand as a guitar.
that. Yes, I'm really good at balancing. And I'll tell you the funniest thing, because whenever I turn the mic stand up, I always think of the band The Ramones. You know the Ramones, yeah?
Yeah, of course.
So I was on Lollapalooza tour a million years ago, and the Ramones were on the tour. And Joey would flip his mic stand up and he'd point to the crowd. And he'd either do this or he'd do this. And I thought it was super, super cool. I was like, man, that's cool looking. And then they got my friends in Rancid were like, you know what he's doing? He's telling them to turn the monitors up, turn the monitors down. And it became a little less cool.
Oh, wait, you know Rancid?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Um, so at your shows, at Avail shows, you guys you shoot people with water guns all the time. So do you just have an arsenal of water guns or something?
Yes. Water guns, foam fingers. Um, I used to have that one thing that you would put to a faucet and it would be like 50 or 60 water balloons. And I
Oh,
would do that and throw water balloons at people because I think it's
that's
funny.
fun.
Yeah, because I mean, what isn't? It's fun. It's water balloons, right? It's not like
Yeah.
hurting anything. But it was because we would play these really, really, really tiny places, and they would be so hot that it just made sense to squirt people with water.
Okay. Uh,
Did you see my tiny gong?
oh yeah,
Yeah, that was cool, huh? I was stoked on that.
that was fun. Uh, now on to some non-music related questions. If you could
Okay.
have a superpower, what would it be?
Oh, see, I've talked about this before, and I don't know if it's the best way to say for kids in the pit podcast, but I reckon if I had to have a superpower, I don't know what it would be.
Water gun man?
I guess, but it wouldn't be because I do this a lot and I'd end up shooting people all the time. Maybe that would be a cool shooter pattern, right? If I could just pretend to squirt people, that would be a good one.
Yeah. Or you could shoot water out of your fingertips.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I'm saying, like that. That's how I shoot people now. And then I wouldn't have to worry about carrying stuff. It'd be cool.
They'd be like, how? You just go,
These things. They're
yep.
dangerous weapons.
So what's your favorite food?
Right now I like rice and beans and chicken,
Ooh,
but if I had to have one thing for the rest of my life, which is very, very funny, because I'm lactose intolerant, is macaroni and cheese. I love macaroni and cheese.
so good.
So good. Even like the crappy stuff versus like the homemade stuff. It's all good. Everything in between.
Yeah.
All.
So
And
do
then you
you
can do stuff and put beans in it. You can do dumb stuff like put hot dogs in it
think
and chicken and stuff. Oh God, it's so good.
that could be good? So
Yeah.
do you think pineapple belongs on pizza?
I don't really care. My wife likes it, and my son thinks it's stupid, and I don't have an opinion on it
Oh.
because yeah.
Is water wet?
What?
Do you think water is wet?
This is a joke. Why did you get so close when you asked me that one?
I don't know. I just did.
Yeah, I think water's wet.
I think it makes stuff wet.
Oh, you jerk. Yeah, you're right.
Or
Well,
it
I
could
guess.
make stuff wet. I'm not sure.
All
We
right,
need
I'll go
a
with you then.
scientist for this.
Well, I'm definitely not a scientist.
Yeah. So how long would you survive in a zombie apocalypse?
A long time.
Oh,
Number one, there's not a lot of people here in this part of Costa Rica, so there will only be but so many zombies. And I have 15-foot walls around my house to keep out monkeys and pumas and stuff like that. So
okay.
I'll probably keep the zombies out for a little bit longer too.
Are there just monkeys running around in Costa Rica?
Yeah, absolutely. Every day there's monkeys that come like
Amazing.
so when I look out the window, because my bedroom window is right there, and when I look out the window, almost every day there's monkeys, howler monkeys too.
Mom, could we move to Costa Rica, please?
So every day I see monkeys, I see iguanas, like big iguanas, like 3 feet long iguanas.
Oh,
There's tons of like macaws, like parrots and stuff like that fly overhead all the time.
it's cool.
The weird one is there's tons of vultures that are here, which is really weird. But yeah, there's tons of animals here all the time. I totally dig it.
Have you ever played in Costa Rica?
No, we've
Oh,
not, we tried to, or we had talked about it, like right before that long 11-year break of not playing, but then it just never came to fruition. And now it's too hard because I mean it costs so much money for the rest of the guys to get there to get
true.
here. So
So if you could tell your 10-year-old self anything at all, what would you tell him?
I don't know. I don't know. It's weird because like a lot of people when you ask that question, they kind of look back and think on like maybe stuff that they didn't do or like positive affirmations about like you're doing great and all that stuff. And I've been really lucky in my life and I've done everything I ever wanted to do. And I don't really have any regrets on anything. I mean, I've made some people mad, but I admit that that's part of me being a punk rocker. So there's nothing. I just say make sure you have fun. Like that's the thing. Like again, that's the reason I became the cheerleader because it was fun. And that's the
Yeah,
reason I play in bands because it's fun. And that's the reason I go to shows or skate or because I still skateboard. I'm not good at it at all, but I still do it. It's just because it's fun. Like that's just make sure you have all the fun you can get. I know that's not like do good in school or eat your vegetables or lift all the weights or whatever, but just have fun.
yeah. I skateboard and it's really fun.
Yeah. It's except when you fall and then it really sucks.
Well, yeah. But usually it's very fun.
Yeah, I agree. I enjoy it.
Yeah. So would you like to add anything before we end the podcast?
Um, no, be nice to people, have lots of fun, and if people aren't nice to you, be really mean to them back.
Okay. So, thanks to Beau for joining me today, and thanks to all of you for watching or listening. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel or follow me on Spotify and other streaming platforms. Till next week, bye.